Hi YouTube, this is Elon QP, Queen Pam here, and I am back with another planner art journal collaboration video. And this month I was the one to choose the theme, and I chose Roy G. Biv and a stencil. So Roy G. Biv, in case you don't know what that is a way to memorize the order of the colors in the rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So I am going to be working today in my magazine, or the end goal will be to place it in my magazine journal. This is just a book. Well, actually, it's two magazines that I cut in half, and there is a tutorial on YouTube, not on my channel, because this was not my idea. I think I got the idea from Inky Well, and I had these art magazines laying around, and so I did that rather than throw them away. So I'm going to need, for the technique, I'm going to do some clay coated glossy paper. So not all glossy is clay coated, so this is like chrome coat. And I'm going to use the paper outside the journal, sorry for the crinkling, to do the technique. I'm also going to be using stamps from Unity. This stamp set is called maybe you guys can read that for yourselves. Okay, that's upside down for you. Okay, I think it's called Never. So Never. So, and I'm also going to be using, for my Roy G. Biv, red, yellow, and red. It's Roy. There's the G. And there's the Biv. Roy G. Biv. So let me get those opened, and we can start the technique. You're also going to need, if you want to play along, water bottle and some distress glaze. Tim Holtz, who is the designer for Ranger on the distress oxides, for those of you who aren't stampers like I, came to art journaling from a stamping background. He's been showing this technique since Creativation in January. So let me get my stamps out of the way. And what you do, or what I'm going to do, is I have a glass table top, tempered glass. I'm going to start with my light colors, squish them down on my table. All of these colors play well and don't create mud. That one is a little dry. Been using candy apple a lot. So, just misting it with water, and then I'm going to dip my paper in it. And you get that? I'm not through dipping. Get some on the ends. And that's good enough for me right now. So I'm going to turn the sound off and use my heat gun. Well, this one, let's see if it, well, this one isn't too loud. So, before I switch colors, I like to dry so that I don't get too much mud. And that's what we have so far. I don't want to waste anything, so I've got a couple of tags I'm going to be using to mop up. This technique won't work on these tags because they are not glossy, but still pretty nevertheless. Do a little cleanup and move on to my next colors. I may revisit those colors later, but you never know. Now green, I'm going to just do it by itself. This is Lucky Clover. The other colors were Squeezed Lemonade, Carved Pumpkin, and I think I did say Candied Apple because it was kind of dry. Luckily, I like to buy reinkers, so I think I can put the blue on with the screen. Give them a little mist. A lot of mist. And dip. I think the green is overtaking the blue, so I may put some more blue out after I dry this. And you can see that because I'm drying it in between layers, I'm not getting brown, except in the places, I guess, where it wasn't dry. So I'm going to help this dry a lot faster. Put a little mop on the water. And I want a little more blue, so I'm going to put just blue out by itself. Yep. So I'm getting more blue. And on the mop-up tag. Mop-up tag's getting muddy because I'm not drying it. In case you don't know about distress oxides, when you spray them with water, they make a white, chalky sort of a thing happens to them. They are some sort of fusion of dye, ink, and pigment, and the pigment is what sort of makes the dye ink change colors and go grayed out or frosted over. And so now I'm going to do a little blueprint sketch. That's what it's called. A little water. Got some cool there. And a little more water. And I know I'm going to want some more red on here because I'm going to pick another color of red distress since my candy apple's a little red. I mean a little worn. Go with something super dark even though it's more brown. You did see I put red on there, so I am sticking to the Roy G. BIV guidelines. And I hope that you will take the time to look into the description box and visit the other artists who are playing along. I've gotten a sneak peek, and I can tell you that what they're doing is also fabulous. We have one color left that has to happen, and that will be Wilted Violet. Clean this up. And put out the Wilted Violet. And mop up and dry. Clean that up. Now I want some more concentrated colors, especially some of the light ones. So I'm going to take like this orange carved pumpkin and go through a stencil and put some on. Can't really see it unless maybe I bring it up close. It is adding. And a little more over here. I think I'll just go a little direct to paper for a little bit. And then do the reverse of lifting with the baby wipe on the stencil. Yep, that's showing up. So you got some lifting and some adding by the baby wipe having some color. And I'm just going to clean a sponge off on the baby wipe just to get some of the color off. Then I'm going to switch stencils. And bring back some yellow. And do the lifting with the baby wipe. Try and find a non-orangey spot. And once that dries, you'll be able to see it better. And here's where we are so far. Still just not getting the red that I want. So I'm going to try to add some red over the top through a stencil. There we go. Getting some red. So I'm going to go off. Now I'm happier. Got me some red. So I'm a red girl. I got to get this good and dry for the next step because we're going to apply the Distress Micro Glaze and watch the magic happen. I actually want to take a picture of this as it is so that you'll be able to see the difference. So now what you do is I have some ink and just a blending foam that I have dedicated to the Distress Glaze because it fits right in there. And I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can see, hopefully, what happens. So just have a little bit on the blending foam. And I wonder if you can see the difference from here to here. All the layers that were up under are now once again exposed, whereas they're not so over here. But we will do more. And hopefully you can see it. The other added benefit is that the Distress inks will no longer be water reactive for whatever I do in the next layer. So use my stencils, use my Roy G. Biv, and now I'm just going to buff the microglaze. And it has pretty much brought the glossy paper back to glossy, which is not always a good thing for art journals. But this isn't the sticky kind of glossy that you get with other glossy mediums. And it is really rich in detail. All of those under layers can be seen because of this technique. done on the clay coated glossy type paper. And for the interest of time, I'd stop now because I would have put lots more layers on there just because. I'm going to take another picture of that because that is so pretty. So now push these things off to the side and let's do some stamping. I have this beautiful stamp, and for that, and because I can, and because this is outside of my journal and I can actually fit it into my MISTI, I'm going to use the MISTI. So I'm going to put the stamps and my thing, my paper in the MISTI. So that I can stamp this and be sure that it stamps. I don't know from the picture if it has, well, it sort of has an orientation. Let me find it. Yep, that looks like the top. Don't know what a MISTI is. These are magnets to hold it. So, yep, that will work. And then what I have here is some VersaFine Clair, and I am going to use the color called Morning Mist because I want my words to actually be the focal point. So I'm putting a lighter gray, and I think I actually even want to step off of the lighten it. If I don't like that, I can always go back and put more. Because the MISTI always stamps in the exact same spot every time. And that did not show up like I wanted. So I'm going to not stamp off this time and just put the whole thing on there. All the ink on there. Stand back so that you can see. Yep. I may not have gotten that middle. There we go. And I'll heat set it. Since that's still there in the same spot, I do want that to be, well, I think what I'll do now is get my focal point on and ready. Cleans off with the baby wipe. And I want the words, it says never, never, never give up. I want them right there. And I can tell if they're lined up straight by looking at the Misty, because it has that grid on it. It has a grid on it. And it's straight enough for an art journal page for me. This time I'm going to use archival because I want it to be true black, and I want it to show up really, really well. And it did really, really well. So now I'm done with the Misty because I just want to do random type stamping where accuracy is not really necessary. Clean that off. Set the Misty to the side. I want to use some of the other stamps in the background to give me little bits of black. This one is kind of fiddly, so I'm going to put it on a block. And I want to use it as my border. Rotating it around. Here's my border. But I also want a little bit more of an edge. going to do a little heat setting just to make sure. And this clear doesn't look like it wanted to dry on here, so I'm going to rub it a little bit. And it didn't. Doesn't like the glossy paper. But I have a fix for that. I'm going to emboss it. Let me get some embossing powder and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got some black embossing powder. We're just going to drop over that and see. Yep, it's still very wet. So it's picking it all up. So I will turn off the sound for this heat gun because it is loud. It is loud. So I've embossed that. So now I can do pen work because I'm pretty sure that's not going to affect my pens now. And this is a Uniball Signo in Angelic. That's a little lighter. I mean a little thinner than the bold. I'm going to switch to the bold because I can't see that. Make sure the bold is writing. Outline my words again. This is part of a collaboration of artists, so if you would please go and look in the description and visit the other people who are playing along with Roy G. BIV and Stencil. Of course, they are free to interpret that however they choose. And I think I actually want like some watered down white paint to go around that never. So I'm getting my gesso. And some water. To wet the paintbrush. I'm going to need a detail paintbrush. Hold on, please. Got two detailed small angle brushes because those are my favorites. And I need to put this embossing powder somewhere where it doesn't get spilled. Decided that it'll just be easier to restamp it over the top. Let's do some speckles while we're doing that before we get rid of that. Need some water so I can water that out. Water out the edges. And then get this really wet and do some splatters. Okay, so we will wipe up a little bit. With our paint brushes, get a little water on them. And clean them off on a rag. Let's try this. And then we'll stamp the words again, and then we can maybe call it done. Maybe. I like how sometimes when you dry the splatters and sort of dry them and then hit them with a rag, you get little open circles. Okay. Let's bring back in the Misty and see if we can line that stamp back up. I think that will be close enough. Because actually, I think I will emboss it. So I went back to the Claire. And that putting the white out around it does give it a little better. Bring back the embossing powder. And the loud heat gun, so I'll turn the sound off. And I pretty much like it. Now the only thing left that I have to do is to glue it into my art journal. So thank you again. Please visit the other artists who are playing along in the Planner Art Journal collaboration. And as always, I'll leave you in the hands of the creator. Bye-bye.